Episode 8. What happened to gaming? More specifically on this one, what happened to game development? I might have to do a separate one just for gaming itself, but there's something really weird that kind of happened across video game development to be discussed. The biggest problem that I see in video games today is outsourcing. So a massive company has a huge following, but they don't want to put any effort in. So they outsource everything possible, duct tape it together, and slap a title on it. And then people are like, "Oh, that's this company," so they buy it. And it happens, I would say 100% of the time. I don't think there's a company that doesn't outsource in the AAA titles anymore. I mean, maybe some of the games are like very uh, in-house, but it just seems like the more I look, the more I'm like, wow, they're just everybody's doing it so much. It's like ghostwriting, but like for game development. It's like they want to develop something, but they don't want to pay artists. They don't want to pay story writers. They don't want to pay anyone to do any work. So they outsource it, bring it back, and then sort of like do a couple main things that they wanted to do. And one of the most recent ones that I've seen, I think probably the biggest offender would be the Pokemon games. People are crazy about them. They got a huge following, they got a massive audience, and their games come out, and I'm like, this is like 2 week MVP looking. Like the lighting isn't correct, the shadowing is incorrect, and like some of the levels aren't even built. There was one where they couldn't figure out how to like separate the areas, so they just put big squares and then colored them. And I was like, that wouldn't even like take any effort. That would be something you would do is like blocking out the level in game development. And they're selling that as their final product. Like, here it is. And I'm like, you guys didn't even fix the lighting and all kinds of weird issues. Issues that like a junior developer would be able to fix. Issues that if you gave the game to a kid going to school for game development in 2 months, he could fix it. Probably less than that. But I mean, would it really hurt these, game companies to do something like that? Actually, yeah, bigger offender yet. One that I wanted to talk about specifically. I loved Skate 3. I was a huge fan of Skate 3. I used to build the skate parks in there. I was always like really big on that. Thought it was the most badass game concept. It was like I was big on Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Tony Hawk Underground 1 when that came out, I was like, "Wow, this is like the pinnacle of gaming here." And then when I played Skate, I was like, "Whoa, you can like feel as if you're skateboarding." I used to skateboard years ago. More of a vert skater, but I think one of the only people around here that could do a 720 on a kicker ramp is years and years ago. But so I get into the skateboarding games. I'm like, these are super badass. I love making these crazy mega ramp jumps. There's one that I was a little bit infamous for was this level that I called the Picasso Gap, and I had this crazy like downward ramp. You get a ton of speed. You're pretty much maxed out on speed. Hit this jump, and I would take platforms and I would set it up here, and the jump would be here. And as soon as I clear the platform, I'd say, let's raise it up a little bit, raise it up a little bit. As soon as I clipped it, I would say, well, let me try like 10 times. If I can make it, I'll raise it a little bit. If I can't make it, I'll drop it down and leave it there. Then I'd put another platform next to it. And I made this crazy curve of platforms where you could just barely clear over the top of them. And if you hit it perfectly, you could make this massive gap right over the top, like a millimeter over these little platforms. I was like super stoked about that. Uh, yeah, I took some videos, I shared it. I was like, oh, good times. That was back when Snapchat was first getting really big. Anywho, fast forward to now, they're coming out with the new skate game. It's been like 10 years. And I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be amazing. First thing I'm like, do they have a park editor? There's no park editor. They had a park editor. Why don't they just put the same park editor into the game? It's the same game. They could just sell Skate 3 again and just do a little bit of level design and it would sell. People would buy it. Maybe a new storyline, God forbid somebody writes something. I mean, like literally, God forbid you pay two developers, one to tweak the level a little bit, the other one to write some storyline a little bit. What's that going to cost you? Like 6 months of development? Maybe? Say you pay them an outlandish wage. What if you give them $50,000 a piece? The total development would cost $100,000. That's it. That would have been it. That's the whole game, ready to go. But instead, they outsourced it to some other company, didn't work on the game ever, and they gave it back to them, and it's just a pile of crap. And it doesn't feel the same, it doesn't look the same. It's weird. I'm like, you guys already had the whole system done. You had all the pieces of the puzzle, you had all the, what would you say, the designs for the control schemes. That was all done. Because like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. When you go from 2 to 3, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 to 3, there's no major changes. It's not like, oh man, they rebuilt the entire control scheme. It's like they used the entire same control scheme. But when you go from Skate 3 to the newest Skate 0 or whatever they're making it, took the number out, so now it's just Skate again. Um, it's literally like a different system altogether. It's bad. If it was a better system, I'd be like, wow, okay, props, but it's not. Skate 3 was like perfection. And then now it's like they went back and I'm like, why would you go back? It doesn't make sense. You already had it. If you're building iterations of stuff, you want it to get better over time. And if it doesn't, you just use what you have. But instead, they outsourced it to another company who did it differently. I'm guessing they didn't like send them the game files to say, here's how we did our last one. I don't know why. I don't know why they would do that. Like they literally sabotaged their own company. And then they said, well, we'll just release it for free. Like it doesn't matter. It's crap. Like I was willing to pay for that game. People waited 10 years for it. It comes out, it's garbage. And then they're like, oh, well, it's free. It's like, well, why even make it then? You just made it to, I don't know, to piss people off? Was that the goal? And then they sold the whole company. All of EA got sold overseas, anyways. So I'm like, well, maybe they just wanted to sabotage it before they sold it. Maybe that was it. Or maybe they wanted to do that as like a test to see how many people are interested in the game like that. Like how many downloads they get. Maybe that was the idea. But, anyways, they're not the first one or the second one to do it. It's happening in video games all the time where you're seeing stuff that's just not functioning quite right. And if regular everyday people are noticing breaks in the game, just in the most basic stuff, it's outsourced, guaranteed. Because no sane developer would look at a game like that and say, this is fine. We're not going to deal with this. We'll worry about something else. It's one of the fundamentals of game development is you build from the ground up. You build your systems, get things in place, and once you have a solid foundation, you build on top of that. You don't have like a fully functional, beautiful AAA level that's fully built out, looks amazing, and then just like duct tape some crap to it and see what happens. That's not how people do it. You look at like what would you say, Fallout or even like the Halo series. There's consistency in the level design because one company worked on all of it. Very consistent. It's not like one level is kind of glitchy and the other level doesn't have good lighting no, it's consistent across the board. In the old Halo games, we're talking Halo 1, 2, 3, like consistency across the design. Games like Borderlands, consistency. And then suddenly you get games like Pokemon where they can't do the lighting and it's like we have it. You go to Unity, it's done for you. You get like a flickering, it's like Google it. Like how are you guys so bad at coming out with stuff? And they're trying to sell you the idea that a professional company touched off on this before it was sold. I'm like, no, they didn't. Nobody even looked at it before it was sold. Had someone else duct tape it together, and they're like, that's it. We're not even going to look at it. And I assume it's because their developers are working on other stuff that's more important. And when I say more important, I just mean money. That's all they think about. Bigger companies, they're just money, 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 money. You saw what happened with the Diablo series when they were going to release Diablo Mobile. Like, I remember there was a video specifically where a gentleman stood up and he was like, "Is this an April Fool's joke? Like, are you guys like really messing with us? Because this is the dumbest idea we've ever heard." And that resonated across the whole gaming community, especially for Diablo, because it's a game that's very consistent with sitting at a PC and grinding out and having a good time. Like one of the most famous hack and slash games that have ever come out. And it's beautiful. And then they're like, we're going to do a little mobile thing with a bunch of like microtransactions and try to get money from you guys. And they're just like, no. Not. And so then they held off on it for like 4 years or something. And then they re released it quietly. It's so weird. But yeah, it's like they don't even talk to their communities anymore. They just look at analytics data and then, well, what do the analytics say? And it's like, you don't ask the right questions, that analytics data doesn't even mean anything. It doesn't resonate with people. Another example was Path of Exile. Massive game, beautiful, huge system. They got crowdfunded for like millions of dollars. They built this amazing game. They were like, yeah, it's kind of like an alternate style of Diablo. It's like, it's got its own vibe to it. Got its own, I don't even know what you would call it. Just, it was beautiful. It's a good system, good game, good story. And then they said, we're going to make the second one free to play also. But then they sold the company to Tencent Games. And then Tencent Games is like, we'll make it free to play. And they put it on Steam, free to play. And then they're like, we're coming out with this game. It's going to be free to play. And they were like, so it's like $60. And I'm like, it's free to play. It's under free to play with free to play. And they're like, yeah, but it's early access. So we'll charge you to play it, but just for the early access. And then they had no release date. And I was like, so it's not free to play. And then Steam actually made them take it off the free to play section. And I was like, they're charging to play the game for, early access for this massive game that they've been telling everyone's going to be free to play. I've never played Path of Exile 2. I was waiting to play it. I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to get into it 100%. It never came. I was like, oh, okay, they're just going to do a charge you money to play it. Then people were like, it's not that good. And I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't try it. But like, wow, what a flop. What a missed opportunity to have an amazing game. People were buying supporter packs on Path of Exile 1 for like $500. There were supporter packs for like $800 to have a red title thing. Your name's got a little red thing on it, and they're like, oh, $800. People were paying it because they were like, yo, this game is so badass, and I just have a lot of money to blow out the window. So that was happening. And now they have a game where they're fighting to get $5 from people, and nobody cares. And they're just like, you kind of built crap. And then you screwed over the community, and now there's not as many people playing. And it's like, they're just destroying themselves. It's so weird. Meanwhile, people like me want to develop games. They're like, we go out and we look for companies and we're like, hey, I can do this, 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 and this. And they're like, no, we just outsource it all. Like, okay, maybe I should be going to these other countries. Maybe I should be over in India. Like, hey, I can do actual game development and I can speak English pretty good. That'd be amazing. But yeah, no, it's sad. Just sad what's happened. So, and that's not even talking about some of the other issues that we might get into. I might have to make a part two of this one. Until next time.